What if I told you I could end your overthinking problem in basketball with just one video? Well, if I told you that, I'd be a liar. But what I can do with this video is give you some strategies and some mental shifts that will help you in dealing with your overthinking problem and eventually getting to the point where it no longer affects you on the court. The first thing I need to discuss with you guys is you guys got to stop connecting your identity to the game of basketball. What am I talking about? Well, if you make a mistake on the basketball court, does that make you any less of a human being? I would hope you agree with me in saying no. Right? Your self-worth is not dictated by how you perform on the basketball court. Okay? You need to disconnect that. I fell into that too when I was younger, man. And I see players that I work with today fall into that. It's debilitating. It's crippling. Because you see right in front of your eyes, when you see it from my view now training players, that they just put so much unnecessary pressure on themselves and they worry about everything they do constantly, and they could just drop all that right at this moment. They really can. But the first step in doing so is disconnecting your identity from basketball. Instead of saying ball is life and, it's my everything, it's all I got, it's the only thing I'm good at. I remember I used to say that to myself a lot. Basketball was the one thing I was good at. And so if I had a bad game, I would say, oh, what am I good for? I got nothing left. A few ways to deal with this I have found are to find other hobbies to do in your free time. Because for me, I didn't have any free time. All the time in my life was spent towards basketball. It would be 5 hours a day of training, working out, shooting, what have you. It would be lifting, and it would be watching film or watching videos on YouTube on how to get better at basketball. That was my life. Of course, school, but that I cared more about basketball a lot of the times in school when I was younger. Maybe don't follow in my footsteps with that. Take care of your education and everything. I got good grades, but it wasn't like... Anyway, you need to spend some time away from basketball every single day. Believe it or not. Separate maybe like an hour of your day or less, just maybe 30 minutes, to something else you enjoy. If that's video games, great. If that's finding some kind of, art you like to do, you like to draw, paint, what have you, do that. Find something that isn't so attached to performance-based success. For me, I enjoy making videos, but sometimes I fall into that trap like I did with basketball. I see the views are down, and I say, oh man, this content sucks, so that must mean I'm terrible at making videos. I thought I was a YouTuber now. I must suck at what I'm trying to do. And I fall into that shame cycle and that anger. And then I remind myself, oh, well, I'm supposed to be the mindset guy for basketball, and I'm falling into a bad mindset. I'm a hypocrite. And then it cycles even more. But what I've been learning is disconnecting my identity from my YouTube videos. Yes, what you're seeing is me on the screen. What I do, I put my heart into this stuff. I love what I do. But I can't let it negatively impact my life if what I am doing isn't performing well. Also, you need to take a look at what are you focusing on. For me, I was focusing on the views and how many people saw the video, instead of focusing on, did I make a good piece of content? Did I help somebody? With basketball, it's the same thing. You might be saying, oh my gosh, I airballed 5 times. Oh, I did this. But did you hustle on every possession? Did you give it your all? Did you leave anything out on the court? If you hustled every possession, if you worked your butt off the whole game, you have nothing to be upset about. All you have now is you know what to improve on. Okay, maybe since I airballed from the corner 5 times, I should work on my corner jump shot. Don't get so down on yourself because of that, and don't let your identity get so wrapped up in your failures. Because at the end of the day, you're not failing. You're just making mistakes. Failure is giving up, and that's not what you're doing. So take a step back. Stop wrapping your identity so much in the game of basketball. Now, to move on from that, now that your identity is not attached, you need to understand that your overthinking and your nerves and all that anxiety that you have is a sign that you care. So if you felt indifferent about the game of basketball, if you didn't really care about it, you wouldn't worry about it. You would just go out there, let me just shoot the ball, whatever. Oh, cool. Did I make it? I don't even care. Right? But because you're so worried, because you have so much passion, that's a sign that you love what you do. So embrace it. Embrace the nerves, embrace the overthinking, and say, hey, this is a sign I'm in the right place. And it's putting me on edge. It's helping me perform at the highest level physically. And yes, it can be tough. You have those butterflies, you feel like you're going to be sick, but some of the greatest athletes of all time dealt with that same thing. I've mentioned this before, but there are a lot of athletes that throw up before every single game. In the NFL, it's very common. Don't let those nerves stray you away from the game that you love, and don't let it make you feel like, oh, there's something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you, bro. Everything you're going through is normal. The third piece of advice I have for you is stop comparing yourself so hard. You're looking at the guy next to you or whoever opponent you have or your teammates, and you say, man, they're so much more further along than I am. They're doing so much better than me. Oh, man. And it doesn't serve you unless you're trying to learn from that person. Instead of comparing yourself to other people, I think you should learn from other people. And that's a very important distinction. There's been a lot of people that have been talking to me saying, you know, Mark, I think it's actually a good thing to compare yourself. And I do compare myself accidentally all the time. But as I'm going to sound like but as I'm getting older, I'm 19 years old, but as I'm getting older, I'm starting to see that all the comparisons I've done throughout my life have not served me at all. I remember back in my freshman year of high school, I compared myself to the varsity guys. Because I was like, looking at them, I was like, man, they're in the spot that I want to be in. And once I got to the varsity spot, I remember thinking back and saying, man, if I copied what they did, if I compared myself to them and actually tried to be like them, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. It is going to sound cliche, but you got to compare yourself to who you are now from who you were yesterday. I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you're an apple, stop comparing yourself to oranges. You don't have to be like everybody else. It's okay to be your own unique person. And once you finally let that happen, you decide, you know what, I'm going to let me be me. You're going to flourish. And your success is unique to your own because you didn't follow some little template that somebody gave you. But, like I said, learn from others. There's always something to learn, but don't compare yourself to others. The last piece of advice that I want to give you is a biblical principle. It comes from the Gospel according to Luke, actually in chapter 6, and it's about judging others. It reads as follows, Luke chapter 6, verse 37, "Judge not, and you will not be judged. Condemn not, and you'll not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you." So, the harsher you are towards other people, the more you judge your neighbor, the more you judge everybody around you, the harsher judge you will be on yourself. And once you begin to forgive others, you can start to forgive yourself. Once you stop condemning other people, you stop condemning yourself. Because it continues later in that same part of Luke. It says, "For with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you." If you want to stop overthinking so much and you want to get out of your own head, stop trying to judge others. Stop trying to fix others. There's another verse, I forget exactly where it is. I believe it's in Matthew. Well, it may be in some of the others, but why point out the speck in somebody else's eye before you have taken the log out of your own? Everybody's got issues. Everybody's got their problems. But if you want to find peace in your own, stop pointing out everybody else's problems. If you want more direct help in your basketball journey and you want to become a different player by next season, click the link in the description and book a call with me to see if my coaching is right for you. At the time of this recording, there are only 9 spots left for my coaching, so get on that. And if you are currently stuck on the bench, make sure to watch this video. It'll help you out a lot. But as always, keep God first. Stay blessed, bro.